Right. And we're live, I think. Hey, everybody, this is Bradley Benner. I'm waiting for the page to flip so I can turn it off. So stand by for one moment. Yes. I can't, whenever I'm the one that has to start the announcements to say hi, we're here, or greetings, or whatever. It's odd because there's like a little loading bar that loads, and then once it finishes loading, then it starts playing the video, the live stream. So it's like you get an echo effect, and it's weird. So, anyways, the long story short here is that Adam, you're supposed to take over announcements when you're on with me.
But I'm doing poorly. So, but I think so much about POFU and what we got to share with people that I showed up this morning.
So today, guys, we are just having kind of an informal chat, really, about what POFU Live is, or what really the position of fuck you is. That's what POFU is. A lot of people hear that, probably wonder what it is. Well, if you're not familiar with that, maybe we can drop a link on the watch page to the where I kind of got the idea from, which was a clip of John Goodman from the Gambler with Mark Wahlberg and John Goodman, which is just a movie, but it's funny because he's talking about the position of fuck you, right? And that I always thought was really funny. It struck me the first time I saw that movie, which was several years ago, as very profound. Even though it was, a movie clip, it was very profound. And I thought about it, and I was like, that's really something that we should be striving for. So we kind of adopted that as our mantra, as our as something to strive for. And that's why we named our first live event last year POFU Live. This one being the second. It's 2019. And so we really just kind of want to have a chat today about what we each consider the position of fuck you, because it all has similar meaning, but slightly nuanced, right? It's slightly different for each one of us. And what we've learned and accomplished through our own businesses, as well as collectively over the last several years that we've been together. I think, 6 years now, guys, right?
Yeah, coming up on it.
Yeah. And then also, what we are trying to do with our POFU Live event as far as how to help you reach your position of fuck you, and how, first of all, determine what that is, and second of all, how to reach it, because it's not something that can happen overnight. It takes concerted effort and processes and a plan. It takes a plan, and then you have to develop the processes and work that process. And it's something that, I don't think any of us are actually where we want to be yet either. If we were, I'm not sure we'd be on this webinar trying to pitch it to you, but the idea is that we're all working towards better selves, better businesses, and our positions of fuck you. And, we've each achieved some level of that along the way, and that's what we're going to share today. So with that, Adam, how are you?
Like I said, I'm doing all right. I'm hanging in there, man. I was out on the East Coast having just a little background. I went out and we got some friends married, had a great time. Got to do some trail running, which I enjoy. And then, I don't know, man, probably the flight back, I think I caught something. And so I'm trying to avoid the dive into complete and utter health breakdown with the cold caught on a plane flight. Those are always the worst. So working my way through that. But and then getting ready for the ramp up for POFU Live, because we are 2.5 weeks away, and I think this is really cool. I'm glad we did it. We didn't do this last year before POFU Live. I think it's interesting to talk about with people and to hear what any questions people have. And I think you gave a really good intro about why this is important to us and why it should be important to other people as well.
So Chris, how about you? How are you doing?
Doing good. Happy to be here as always.
Short and sweet.
Yep, that's how I'm doing the thing. Do you want me to say something about POFU as well, or are we already handling questions?
Well, no, I don't think we have any questions yet, and I think we should each probably. And again, guys, like I said, it's very informal. We really didn't plan this out. It was just like, let's do a webinar on Thursday at 12:30 noon, and just talk about it. So we don't really have. I prepared one slide to just show some bonuses for people that join. That are going to come attend POFU Live. We're going to throw in some bonuses if you purchase your ticket. But other than that, we're just going to, have a chat about what it is to us, what it means to each one of us, and, some sort of idea or wisdom that we can try to convey to our audience today about what they're going to learn if they come to the event, right? And even if you don't come to the event, I hope that some of this today is valuable for you to at least start thinking about how to develop your own position of fuck you, like determine what it is, right? You got to identify it first, define it. And then once you define it, you got to develop the plan and then work that plan, right? So Chris, yeah, if you want to, I don't know, kick us off, man.
Sure thing. So like for me, how I see it, especially for everybody doing SEO and stuff. So we all know there's usually two kind of people. Like number one, somebody who is already running the agency and like doing fine, and the other person who is pretty much chasing down, I think at the moment, chasing the latest GMB hack and stuff down, and being in that rabbit hole and trying to figure out that hack. And many of the people that we talk to actually have issues while doing that to also like making enough money. So if we take, for example, Marco, who is always in the lab and chasing like new things and like testing things and like reading the latest Google white papers and stuff. So in this position, he doesn't have to worry about money coming in because like he can sleep and rest well, that money is showing up like clockwork every month. And unfortunately, that's not the case for everybody. And if you're one of those people who actually chasing those hacks and not only hacks, but like can even be like side hustle businesses or like, I don't know, like just things to expand your business while at the same time certain parts of your business are not stable enough to actually do those things. And then the thing that already worked is starting to crumble, and then you have to like jump from a side project more over there again and like back and forth. We all have been in that situation, and that's definitely one of the things that we will tackle at the event, and we will give you pretty much the game plan how to fix that issue and how to be out of that loop and be able to actually then, once you have achieved that kind of like position of fuck you, to actually then chase the latest tags and things down the rabbit hole, not having to worry about like making enough money that month. That's pretty much the main thing that how I see the whole POFU thing for most of the people. For me personally, it means I have the freedom, I can travel, I can fly over to Asia, I can be in Bali for a month or 2 or 3. And just decide it's still good here. I like it. I don't want to fly home this month. Just fly out, fly back in, extend my visa that way, and stay another month in paradise and enjoy life.
So Chris's is obviously very different from mine because, you know, and I agree with a lot of what Chris had said. But as far as the lifestyle, I can't stand flying. Like I have an absolute fear of it, and so I'm dreading the flight to Denver coming up for the POFU live event, just because always about a month prior to having to fly anywhere, I start getting nervous. And the closer I get to the actual flight date, the more nervous I get. So, you know, I'm not looking forward to that. However, I always end up enjoying myself whenever we get together, guys. So, but my idea is not of enjoying the lifestyle that I want to enjoy is doing exactly what I'm going to do today. As soon as we're done with this webinar today, I'm out the door and I'm going back to the mountains in Pennsylvania to go ride ATVs with some buddies in camp and stuff like that. And I'm going to do that for the next 3 days. And, you know, that's part of what POFU is. My position of fuck you has become is, you know, for many, many years, I worked 6 and 7 days a week, 12 to 14 hours a day. No kidding. And it was to, you know, get to a certain level. And even then I've learned a lot. Like, you know, things in this year alone have shifted for me as to what my main focus has been and things like that. But you know, now I'm at a point where I don't have to work 7 days a week. In fact, I typically only work Monday through Thursday full time, right? So that's full days. And then on Friday, I usually work half days. And sometimes I take Fridays off too, depending on if I'm going out of town for a camping trip or something. But my camping trips are always within driving distance because I don't want to fly anywhere. So, but yeah, as far as, you know, I appreciate what Chris said about, you know, I think we see a lot of that in our membership, right? With people that join our groups that, even in our mastermind for that matter, that are struggling to generate reliable or consistent income. And the problem that I see a lot is too many people that are trying to jump around from one thing to another because they're chasing the idea that the next thing is going to be what does it for them. And I found over the years, and we even as a company, Semantic Mastery, has found over the years that you really need to kind of focus in on one thing and get good at that and generate a revenue from that. And so one of the problems that I see a lot, and I've talked about this before, but one of the problems I see a lot in our industry is that people pitch methods, like a particular method on how to achieve some sort of SEO result or traffic result or whatever. And they say that as long as you learn this one method, you're going to be fine, right? You're going to make money. You'll be internet rich, and all that kind of shit. The problem is they don't teach you how to build a real business out of that, really how to monetize it for the most part. They might teach you how to get really good at executing a specific method, right? Some ranking method, traffic generation method, whatever, but they don't really teach you how to build a business around it, monetize it, develop a plan to grow that business. And that's where we see a lot of people, because they get caught up in the sales hype for a particular product or software or service or whatever. And they don't learn how to implement that and build a true business around it to where they can generate revenue from it, and predictable or consistent revenue. And so that's something that, we see a lot. And, I think all of us have experienced that at some point throughout our careers as well. Even Semantic Mastery as a corporation has experienced that. So, we're certainly not above it. But what we've learned over the years is to really focus in on something, number one, that you enjoy doing or that you prefer to do. I also understand a lot of people might not be in a position yet where they're just working on what they enjoy to do. There's always going to be aspects of your business that you don't particularly enjoy, but those are the things that you should learn to outsource first, right? Or find third-party providers, or train and delegate somebody else to do that. And these are all things that, again, we talk about in POFU, our POFU Live events, about how to really focus on things that you want to work on. And so that leads me back to what my position of fuck you is. And I kind of had an epiphany at the beginning of this year. Even though I've done quite well in the local marketing and lead generation space for many years now, since around 2010 when I entered it. Really 2012 is when I kind of broke out and started really doing well. So my first 2 years, I struggled quite a bit. But 2019 rolled around and I kind of got burned out. I'm not going to lie. And, I was at the point where I was kind of tired of doing the same shit that I've been doing for so many years. And also, let's be honest, the local business marketing landscape has become so much more competitive and in my opinion, almost saturated. And it's very hard to break through to local businesses now because they get pitched so often by so many companies. And so it's very combative almost. And they put up their defenses, and it's very difficult to break through. And it's not that you can't. But I've been banging my head against the wall for years, dealing with that. And I just got to a point where I was kind of tired of it. And so fortunately, I kind of fell into something that I had a passion for many years ago before I started my digital marketing business. I did real estate. I used to flip houses. And so at the beginning of this year, I looked at starting to flip houses again. And I realized I didn't want to do that because it's so popular now because of all the shows on TV and everybody and their brother is doing house flipping and stuff like that. And so I found kind of an odd twist on that that I had actually been introduced to way back in 2008, but I never really did anything with it. And that was flipping vacant land. And so, that's not the point of today, but I just want to point out that I started my land flipping business back in April. March. I spent the month of March really studying it, developing my digital presence and my marketing collateral and stuff like that. And I really started pushing on it in April, and I've done quite well. I've done very, very well. I've hit almost 6 figures in profit this year off of just the real estate alone. And I really enjoy it. And so why I'm saying that's kind of my position of fuck you is because I've actually been able to let a lot of my clients go that I wasn't really enjoying working for. I still have a handful of really good clients that I've enjoyed working with that I've been working with for many, many years. And in fact, I actually recently just picked up a couple of newer clients, very specific reasons. But I've been able to really lean my marketing agency business down because I wasn't enjoying it that much, right? And started focusing more on developing my real estate business. And that's renewed passion for me to get up in the morning and be happy about what I'm working on. And of course, there are things in this business that I don't like either, right? My real estate business that I don't like either. But I'm already developing processes to remove myself or to take, me out of that situation where I have to do those things, right? Find other providers that can do it for me, or train an outsourcer to do it, that kind of stuff. And so I really enjoy this business. And that's one of the things that I'm going to be talking about at POFU Live, is some of the results that I've been able to see by starting this real estate business. That, and I've talked about this on Hump Day Hangouts recently, but there's a traditional marketing component to it, as well as digital marketing. And I've seen, all these years I've been doing digital marketing, I thought traditional marketing was almost obsolete, right? Like I touted that before, even to clients, like, you know, if you don't have a strong digital presence, you're dead in the water, that kind of stuff. And while part of that is true, I've seen firsthand by combining traditional offline marketing methods with digital marketing methods, that it actually has a huge kind of synergistic effect, right? I hate those kind of buzzwords, but it really does. It complements it, and can actually, doing well performed or well executed offline marketing can have a significant impact on an online presence, like significant impact. And I never would have guessed that had I not started this business. And so it's interesting, because I've actually, by doing this and experiencing these results with my own new business, my real estate business, I pitched two of my clients, my best clients, one, actually a third one in just the last week, another one of my clients. We had an hour and 15-minute phone call about this very thing. So we're starting to develop this out for a third client of mine, where I'm actually consulting and helping them develop an offline marketing plan along with their online marketing, which I've been doing for a lot of these clients for years. And we're already within about, now it's been almost 7 weeks. We're seeing significant results based upon that as well. So to bring it all back, or to kind of bring it all together and then pass it over to Adam, is, position of fuck you to me is being able to work on what I want to work on, what the type of work that I want to do, the people that I want to work with. It's renewed passion, right? Something that I'm passionate about, that I'm excited to work on, that it doesn't feel like a grind, right? It feels like, I enjoy doing it. It's almost like if I didn't have anything else, if I was looking for something fun to do, I'd still do this. You know what I mean? And also affording me the opportunity to live the lifestyle that I want to live, take Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays off, and go camping often and that kind of stuff. Spend the weekends with my daughter when I have my daughter, and not have to worry or sweat about money or work or anything else. So that's part of what we want to, what I want to share with you guys at the POFU Live event, is really some of the results that I've been able to achieve recently using a more holistic marketing approach. Number two, how to identify and develop or define what your path to POFU is, or your position of fuck you is. And then number three, how to develop processes and a plan that you can start to implement to reach that. So with that, what do you got, Adam?
Awesome. I'm going to keep mine, at least about my POFU, kind of shorter, because I think that Chris and Bradley really hit the nail on the head. I think that's because these are common things we see, whether it's revenue, it's taking control of your time. And then Bradley touched on what I'm going to talk about a little bit more at the end there, about who you spend your time around. For those of you who don't know, I used to be an engineer, worked for several years in optics, designing stuff like laser systems and other weird stuff like that. And fortunately, my last job totally burned me out. I mean, I remember driving to work and like literally, these guys know me, I'm generally a pretty calm guy. Like I remember going to work and I was like yelling in the car and like punching the steering wheel. And like, that was one of the like alarm bells in my head. I'm like, this is not me. Like, that's not who I am. This is really not good. I need to get out of this situation. And so I started, looking around. I'm like, what is making me feel like this? And part of it was like, I don't like the people I'm around. I don't respect them. Like, I'm not going to learn from them. I can't do this anymore. I've got to find a way out. All right. And so that was really important to me. And so I don't know if I know I've said it to my partners in Semantic Mastery before, but I just say, hey, every once in a while, I know I have on Christmas a couple of times, I appreciate working with you guys. I have a lot of respect for you. And that doesn't mean that, we're always in agreement or things are perfect, but I look forward most of the time to dealing with my partners and saying, this is good. Like if I disagree with them, I still respect their opinions. And that makes such a big difference than going into the situation, just being like, man, I don't even want to be here. I don't want to talk to these people. But every time I at least know, like, man, if I'm getting corrected or getting criticism, at least I know it's coming from someone I respect and they're probably trying to help or add to the situation. So I think that for me, that's been really important. And it's still something I include in my position of fuck you. It's like, I want to spend time around the people I want to spend time around who are going to help me, or who I at least enjoy being around. And then there is, of course, the revenue goals. I think that's important. And somebody actually, I checked out the YouTube channel because I know we're streaming over there. And, somebody asked, what does doing really well mean for you? And I think that's a good question. But the answer is, that's part of why this is so important. That's up to you. I know that all three of us have different revenue goals, and it doesn't matter what it is, right? Mine's near the 30K a month point, and I am not there. And I know we have members in our mastermind who are past that, and that's fine. But my revenue goals are getting me where I want to go. 5K per month could be someone's position of fuck you, right? I mean, depending on what your quality of life requirements are, depending on what you want to do, it doesn't matter. I would generally say it's probably more than that, but revenue is one part of it. And I think that this is a good way to transition into, the fastest way to get, the fastest way to get to your POFU or your position of fuck you is you've got to start with clarity, right? And that's understanding what you want. And maybe you can combine it, or it's personal and business, and being really clear with yourself. Okay. And because it's going to change over time, but if you haven't sat down and said, hey, self, what do I really want out of my life? What do I want to do? Where do I want to end up in 5 years, 10 years, on my deathbed? When I look back, what do I want to say? Then, that's where you probably need to start, and realizing that the more clear you can be with yourself and about your goals, then that's going to help you define your position of fuck you. And it's going to change, and that's okay. Like, don't worry about it. But if you're lying to yourself, you're only lying to yourself. Don't worry about it. We don't have to see your position of fuck you and your goals and all that. But don't lie to yourself. Just get really, really clear about it. And how we can help you do that in terms of POFU Live is realizing that this stuff is cyclical. We want to help you do two things, right? We want to help you focus. And Bradley's talked about that, how important that is. But you heard Bradley also say how he's changed things. But he's not just jumping around willy-nilly, right? He's learning, he's taking in data based upon all of his experience, and then he's focusing on something else while still maintaining some other areas like Semantic Mastery, his client base. Maybe he's shrinking it, but he didn't just walk away and burn that bridge, right? And realizing that this is cyclical. You go through this, you focus, you learn, you refocus, and all the time you're optimizing. And that, to me, is, looking at POFU Live, that kind of encompasses it. We're going to help you focus. We're also going to help you learn. And on top of all of that, I'll call it the icing on the cake, is the networking. Because for me, coming as an engineer years ago, I used to hate that. It's like, oh, we got to go to a conference as an engineer. And I'd just be like, cool, I'm going to go listen to someone talk, and then I'm just going to GTFO. Like, I don't want to talk to people. And then over time realizing, hey, this is really important stuff. And I know some of us, are more introverted, some are more extroverted, but I think that's kind of the power too of POFU Live. It's a small group. You're not lost in the crowd. At the most, I haven't lost track of where we're at, but, max people, 50, 40, you get to hang out, you get to talk to people. People are interested in what you're doing. It's just been a great time. And that was really one of the things. I think if Jamina's still on the webinar, she was there, and she can tell you about how good just being able to meet with people, and that adds to that learning where you find out what these people are doing and you're actually sharing it. It's just a kind of a really special thing in my mind.
Yeah, and you mentioned her, so I'm gonna call her out. She's in my group where we're my mastermind or accountability group for the land flipping business, and she's real quiet in there. She's kind of an introvert. And Jamina, I'm hoping I'm not embarrassing you, but she's been a member of ours for a long, long time, and she was at our live event last year, and she's in the land mastery group with me now, and it's incredible because sometimes I have to send her a message just to say like, hey, how you doing? Is everything all right? Because I haven't heard from you. And she's like, no, I'm just in the background doing my thing. But she's always progressing. And that's, I'm so proud of her. And, thankful to have her as a member of ours and to have been to POFU Live last year and to get to meet her and stuff like that. Because, again, we understand some people aren't, as Adam said, as extroverted, more introverted. And they might want to kind of stand by and just absorb things. But, there is something to be said for getting in a room full of like-minded people that share similar ambition, right? Yeah. That really is, it's electrifying, right? It's almost contagious, and some real big things can happen from that. Maybe even that you don't realize at that moment, but within a few weeks or months or whatever, things can come from that. And so, I just think that what Adam said is absolutely correct. And it's interesting. I see if it's okay with you guys, I see a question on the page I'd like to address real quick.
Yeah, let's do that. And then I want to go through the on the page and talk through kind of a little bit more about the event. If people have questions
Okay.
about that, but tell them a little bit more about that.
Well, then I'll go ahead and grab the screen. Let me do that. And then we'll just take a look at this one question that I see. And guys, if you have any other questions, go ahead and post them or comments even. That's fine. And then we'll kind of talk through the event. I'll pull up the event page so we can kind of talk through that. And I'll show you guys the bonuses too, if anybody joins from today. So let me grab the screen. Okay, can you guys see everything?
Got it.
All right. So the question was, and I kind of answered him via text, but he says realized local is near saturation point. So this is when I was talking about how I kind of got burned out from just doing local lead gen and client work. And he says, what do you suggest for still trying to get going? And so I said, create a strong brand and position yourself as the go-to provider for a specific industry or a business vertical. And I've said that in the past, guys, and there's always been a reason for that. And I think it's more true now than before. And that's number one, it's easier to scale a consulting business or an agency if you are a boutique type agency or consultant, right? So let's just use agency to cover both of those. When I say boutique, I mean when you cater to a very specific business vertical, because what happens is you get to understand that business very, very well. And you understand that that business is, well, first of all, usually the business owner type, who they are and what their, I guess, average type personality would be. I'm sure everybody's unique, but there's going to be some similarities or commonalities between all the people that typically own a specific type of business, right? You also get to know their customers so you get to understand the needs of the business and how to convey that to prospective customers for that business. You understand that you get to know their vocabulary. You develop the marketing collateral, right? The creatives. You understand how to theme, site structure with silos and things like that. You understand where the traffic is and how to generate it. And my point is, once you understand all of that about a particular business vertical, you can repeat that, duplicate it over and over and over again for the same type of business, just in different locations. And that is so much easier to scale than trying to scale where you have to constantly learn all of these things for each new business type that you're going to provide marketing. If you're a Me Too agency, which means or consultant, right? But again, we'll just use agency as a blanket term for both. If you're a Me Too agency where you'll do marketing, you'll provide marketing services for any business that will have you, then you're constantly in that hamster wheel trying to learn about a business and all of those things that I just mentioned and many more that I didn't. So that's number one. But number two, when you become a specialized agency, right, or a boutique agency, as I like to call it, then you can brand yourself as such, and you can market directly to those type. First of all, is outbound marketing, but soon, if you stay consistent at it, you will start to develop a brand and positioning. You'll be positioned in that space well, right? And it takes time, guys. I'm not going to lie. It's not something that's going to happen overnight. You have to start with outbound marketing, which is where you're contacting them and kind of pitching to people. But sooner or later, if you stay consistent at it, you can start receiving inbound leads. And that's where that type of business will start to seek you out specifically. And once that occurs, it changes the psychology entirely. What happens is when you start having people seek you out, the sale becomes so much easier because they're seeking you out and contacting you saying already with the idea that they know they need help, and they're specifically looking to you to provide that. And it's so much easier to sell and to close clients, prospects, when they're the ones that initiate the contact, right? And so, and again, I've learned that and I talked about this in our mastermind webinar just last week, as a matter of fact. As an agency owner myself, I didn't focus on growing my own agency brand. I always focused on growing my customers or my clients' brands, but I never really focused on growing mine. Now, for years, I've received referrals, and that's from other clients of mine that, would say, hey, this guy's good, or Big Bamboo Marketing's good. Just go contact him, Bradley over there, and he'll take care of you. And I've received a lot of clients that way. But with my new business, my real estate business, I've started to build a brand out of it. And I'm getting people that are actually seeking out my company for a very specific reason. And I've started to, like I said, implement that same type of a strategy for some of my clients that are in contracting industries, One of them, actually, the one that I just talked to last week, he owns a preschool. He owns three different preschools. And so we're starting to develop that out for him as well. And we're starting to see that already, especially with the 2 contracting clients where I've been doing this for about 7 weeks now. We're already seeing a significant increase in leads because, and in analytics and in Google My Business Insights, for example, we can see a clear increase in direct and brand traffic, like people that are in, traffic that has come to them specifically through brand searches or direct traffic, like instead of discovery, right? Which would be people doing generic keyword searches and finding them. We're finding that they're going directly to Google or Google Maps or whatever and typing in either the brand name or going directly to the website or to go directly to the Maps listing and generating the lead that way. And so that's how you can do it, right? You can position yourself as a specialized agency where you're catering to one specific business type. It's going to make it easier for you to scale that way. And then you can start to develop that positioning, right? That strong brand to where eventually people will start to seek you out. And that's something that I think is incredibly powerful. And that's something that I should have been doing all the years as my own agency owner, but with my own agency, but I really didn't.
So. Real quick, I think this is cool too, because Hernan talked about one of the ways to do this last year with the Eagle method.
Yep.
Right. And so I agree with you, Bradley. That's laying the groundwork, but then he kind of explained how you take that off and kind of take it to the next level. So definitely something that was covered there. So anyway, I just wanted to bring that up because I was like, this is funny. We talked about this last year.
Yeah. That's so awesome. You want to talk us through this a little bit since you are the coordinator of it?
Yeah, let me bring it up. You've already got the page up?
I do, cool. But if you want to grab the screen, you certainly can.
All right. Let me do this. Go to the top of the page and share. There we go. Cool. Yeah, if you guys have anything to add, please hop in. So first of all, you won't get to see Bradley on this wig. I just love that picture, so I put that on there. But this is good too. I think, this is important we talk about this. It is about delivering and sharing information, training, and like we talked about, focusing while still learning, but it's meant to actually be fun as well. All right, we're going to do both. This isn't sit down, take notes. We want this to be interactive. Like we said, it's a small event, and we do that on purpose. If you haven't watched this video yet, please go to POFUlive.com. And this is the video that Bradley was talking about with John Goodman. Excuse me. If you want to hear a little bit more about what POFU means. All right, the general plan too, if you decide to get a VIP ticket, which we highly recommend, we've structured the pricing so it makes sense. We want to just cover our cost on this, but we want you to come and meet people ahead of time, have some fun. You can ask us questions. There's kind of nothing off limits. We want to get to know you. We want you to know the other attendees, and we are going to have a blast. And what that's going to be on October 11th on a Friday before the event on Saturday and Sunday. We're going to go out with some high-speed go-karting. All right, as well as some food, some drinks. After, of course, we do the championship racing, but we're going to have kind of a deal where it's the what do you call it? Like a tiered, you've got to qualify and then you do some races against other people and have a championship round. So this is going to be really fun. And then of course, between that, chance to talk, meet people, the guest speakers are going to be there. We'll all be there, which I'll tell you a little bit about more here in a second. And then day 2 and day 3 is Saturday and Sunday. All right. These are the main days. I'm not going to read this. You guys can go check this out, but these are the days where we go through. We're going to have a lot of presentations. We're also going to have Q&A on Saturday. After we wrap up, we're going to have a roundtable type of a deal where you can actually get some more time to do one-on-one with us as well as guest speakers. All right. So that, it's not just us talking at you. That's not what this is meant to be. It's meant to be, again, to give you some information and answer those questions and figure out what you want to focus on and what you need help with. If you haven't seen these, I really encourage it. Yes, it looks good for us, but this is true. Hernan just asked people, hey, what do you think about the event on the last day? And this is what people had to say. This is really candid. And I think there's some really good feedback. And, again, one of the stronger things we heard was it's been so good to meet other people doing things like me, but, adding their own flavor and learning all this stuff I could do and then picking, the great or parts or the low hanging fruit. Damn, I could do this and, add the revenue to my business, or I could ask this guy to white label his services, stuff like that. Just some really good feedback. Let me scroll down here. We do have the 3 different tickets. All right. If you can just come for Saturday and Sunday, then the main ticket is for you. Again, we highly recommend the VIP package. And we've, again, priced it that way so that you can come, join us, have some fun, get to know everybody before the event. All right. And then if you'd really like some help and you'd like a free year in the mastermind, then the VIP Plus package is the one to do, because we'll also sit down with you at the end of POFU Live and work on it, whatever it is you want to do with your business or your agency, and give you the feedback and a path forward of, okay, here's what you should be doing. And then do a little follow up with you after that as well. And like I said, you also get a free year in the mastermind. So that's a hell of a deal.
Yeah.
And then the speakers, of course, this is who we're going to have. Obviously, you know Bradley, hopefully, you know Marco. That's me, in case you didn't know it. Chris and Hernan. I'm not going to dive into details here. I do want to mention our guest speakers, though, not featured, which I need to put Rob up on here, though. Rob Beal, our partner with MGYB, will be attending and giving a talk. But Jeffrey Smith, who talked last year, will be there. If you don't know who he is just a kick-ass on-page SEO guy, as well as an all-around good dude. He's going to be there and presenting again. Last year, the best thing, or I guess 2 thumbs up. I mean, everyone was pretty, I don't know, odd at his presentation. It was pretty awesome. So he's going to be there again. Adam Bensman, he's the founder of Brain Hickey. He's a consultant. I'm just looking forward to hearing him talk. He's going to be talking, let me pull this up real quick. Actually, he gave me the name of his talk. He's going to be talking about client attraction and sales, basically how to acquire your more ideal clients by crafting irresistible offers and differentiating your services. So kind of what Bradley was talking about there, like how to go in and focus on one area, but then how to then take that idea or that industry and market it and get yourself out there. And then Catherine Jones, last but not least, she's founder of CF Design School. She's gone from being a single person operation to, last time I talked to her in March or April, she had a 7 or 8 person team, has gone through the 7-figure mark, and has done this pretty much on her own. And so it's been really cool to see her grow. And she's going to be sharing some stuff more along the lines of how to build and create great funnels, which is what she's known for, how you can use those, whether or not you're doing local marketing, national SEO, affiliate marketing, whatever it is. And then she'll be available to talk to as well, obviously, especially at the VIP event, which she'll be attending. So cool person to know, ask her about how she's grown her business, ask her about funnels, any of that sort of stuff. So highly recommend that just based on this alone, you head over to pofulive.com and grab your ticket. But we also have a couple other bonuses for you guys who joined us today.
Yeah, so let me grab the screen back. And I'll just throw that slide up real quick. It's just this. So there's the bonuses, recordings from last year's event, all of them. MGYB deep keyword research package to kickstart the next project that moves you towards your position of fuck you, whatever that may be. It could be for your own agency. Think about that, right? I mean, I'm not trying to tell you guys that your position of fuck you should be, your agency. That might be it, but maybe you're doing marketing consulting work as a means to generate revenue, but that's not really what you want to be doing. So maybe this is the opportunity to start thinking about how you can develop a plan to start building the business that you want to build, right? If that's it. I'm not, again, I'm not trying to put in words in anybody's mouth or anything like that. I'm just saying, I came to the realization early this year, like I mentioned before, that I didn't want to continue to just do client consulting and lead generation, because I was always building other people's businesses, right? I wanted to build my own business, and I could have done that with my agency, right? In other words, I could have chose at the beginning of this year to really build my own brand. But then, like I said, I would still be working primarily on other people's businesses, if that makes sense. And so I wanted to apply all of my marketing skills that I've developed over the years into my own business. And so, again, it wasn't something just happened overnight. I really thought it through and decided that it's something that I wanted to do. And it's been very rewarding. And so that's why I'm saying, my dad mentioned before, I didn't fire all my clients. I didn't walk away from Semantic Mastery. Why? Because I have a passion for teaching and sharing stuff with you guys, number one. And some of my clients I enjoy working with. And, I've been able to get them results and watch their businesses grow over the years. So I've kept those good clients. I want to continue to produce well for them. And what's great about it is my other 2 companies help to fund the growth of my real estate business. You know what I mean? So that's, remember, you don't have to all in, like burn your bridges, right? And sink or swim for everything. I know there's a time for that. But I think that also there's, depending on where you are with your life and what your commitments are and such, there's also time to be practical about it and kind of plan out how you can start taking steps towards your ultimate goals, even while you're still improving the processes and your position at whatever your current business model is or revenue generation is and your lifestyle and all of that. So hopefully that makes sense. So MGYB deep keyword research package to help kids start your next project. Also a best self journal. We can all talk about that. A best self journal to make sure that you stay on track for 90 days to reach your first quarter goals. I don't use the best self journal as religiously as I used to. I'm actually using kind of an online version of something now that I use to kind of help plan out my days and my to-do lists and stuff like that. But man, I'll tell you what, for probably about 2 full years straight, I used the best self journal religiously. It was like my Bible. I kept it with me every single day. I worked it in the morning and also in the evening. And it only took about 10 minutes in the morning and usually only about 5 minutes in the evening to use the best self journal. And it really, really helped me to get focused on, my goals and to start really seeing significant progress in every area. So that's something that, you'll get a free copy of that when you come join us as well. Do you want to comment on that?
Definitely. Yeah, a little bit. Just to say that, the recordings from last year, we weren't able to recover all of them, but all of them that we have, you would have access to. We have not sold these. These are not something that, hey, you could go out and grab them for, $99 somewhere else. They were not sold. The MGYB deep keyword research is cool. I use it. Actually, I just got one delivered for a project I'm working on. And I believe, the current price, it's $197. So we'll toss that in for free. And then the best self journal, whether or not you've used one, this is a really, really powerful tool. If you're not going to use it, pass it along to somebody who could use it and wants to stay focused on their goals for 90 days and get a lot of shit done. Those are, I believe they're like 32 or $42. So, pretty good bonuses. And this is only going to be available for those who decide to come to POFU Live today. Grab your ticket and we will get you sorted out. So you can go to POFULive.com and come join us in December in Denver, October 11th, 12th, and 13th.
Very good. Well, with that, I don't really see any questions. There's just a few comments and that was it. And cool. I'm perfectly cool with wrapping it up, guys. We didn't want to spend a lot of time. We just kind of wanted to convey what we wanted to concerning the event and what POFU means to us. And unfortunately, Marco and Hernan could not be here. Marco took the week off this week, so he hasn't had vacation in years, like a full-on vacation, and that's what he's doing this week. So it's well-deserved, well overdue. And Hernan, I think he's traveling, so he wasn't able to, I don't think, make a good connection enough to be here. So unfortunately, they weren't here, but definitely.
Yeah, we'll stay here. Let's stay here for about 2 minutes. I know there's always a little bit of a delay, so if you guys have any questions, this isn't going to be a Hump Day Hangouts Q&A, but if you have any questions about reaching POFU or coming to POFU Live, please ask away, and we'll just hang out here for a minute or two.
With us streaming through Zoom now, there's not as much of a delay as there was with Hangouts on Air. It's like it's only a couple of seconds versus 30 seconds or 45 seconds before.
I'll let people maybe taking a minute thinking things over, but I'll just ask you guys, what are you most looking forward to in Denver at POFU Live?
Me,
on the spot. Yeah.
Getting to network with everybody. And you guys too. I enjoy that every year. My partners and I, we get together every year for a corporate, our main corporate meeting. And, it's kind of required by law to do that anyways. And it's cool because it's a tax write-off and we all get to meet up somewhere cool and have fun. And then we plan out our entire year for the next year. And we do this every year now. And we have for this makes our 4th year or 5th year in a row. Fourth or 5th?
I think 4th.
Yeah.
4th? Is it the 4th? Okay.
Yeah.
And so that's always fun. But then also, like I said, last year POFU Live was great. We had a lot of fun. It was great networking with everybody. And I mean, it was fun even after the event. We would all go out and have dinner and drinks places every single night. We did. And,
Bradley went out with everybody and spilled a couple beans. I was not amused about that.
Yeah, that's the problem. You guys loosened me up with too much drinks. But I had a lot of fun though. I really did. And I think that's the best part of it is more information is conveyed in the after parties than they are during the event.
How about yourself, Chris?
Yeah, definitely seeing you guys, seeing obviously my team as well from Semantic Mastery. Definitely the karting. That's definitely one of my things, especially like you all get the chance to finally beat Bradley Binner in the rankings. Not him just telling us like, yeah, I'm still at place number 1. So that's definitely good. And yeah, also like about the speeches, like I'm super excited about what's coming because I had like a peek behind the curtains and know a bit more than you guys what's coming. So super excited about this stuff.
Definitely.
Very cool.
Yeah,
And
I'm
you?
looking for man, I'm looking forward to also the presentations. Really looking forward to that. I'm not preparing a big one this year because we've got the guest speakers. I've put in a lot of work getting this together, but I've got a couple short things that I want to share with people. So I think I'm going to be kind of emceeing it. And so I'm looking forward to kind of feeling out the crowd, seeing what people are interested in, and then kind of diving into those areas potentially as we can help them. And I think that that's an interesting part of this. Is part of what we did last year was just, helping people out where they needed it. Is really cool to find out because we work in an area where a lot of people are really secretive sometimes, or at least online, we can't share too much, or we're worried about other people, seeing what we're doing. And to be in a group like this where people are openly sharing is really cool because, the more you share, the more help you can get. So
That's right.
Really looking
Yeah,
forward
all
to
the
that.
stuff that was not never shared online is coming out always at those events.
Yeah. Definitely. All right, guys. Well, it looks like there's no questions, so I think we're good to go. We'll call it a day, and thanks everybody for showing up. If you got any questions, hit us up at support@semanticmastery.com with email, and we'll get back to you.
Right on. Thanks everybody for being here. Thanks, guys.
See ya.
Thank you. See you at the event. Bye-bye.